Hello, this is Jamie with Supplier T News. For today's small business news, we're going to talk about how the Delta variant for the pandemic may be causing issues for small businesses. And also, we actually have a quick summary on a lot of topics, but we're going to be talking also about the Biden administration's recent cancellation of student loans, as well as a couple of other key points, such as how they will be ending some unemployment benefits. But as always, if you like the content that we provide, make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, like the video, and share it to the people who you think may be interested in this content. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So as you can see, deja vu, as we are seeing an uptick in some issues when it comes to the pandemic that may result in some businesses slowing down on bringing people back into the office. Now, pretty good article if you want to take a look. I'm just going to be hitting some key points here. Basically, what's happening is with recent jump in or spike in cases, some companies such as like Apple and Google are, and some other companies as well, but mainly companies with offices trying to bring people back in are now kind of rethinking that. As you can see here, Vanguard actually offered $1,000 for for employees to get vaccinated. This is just kind of one idea that people are trying to do in order to have people feel more comfortable in order to come back. The big piece that I really wanted to talk about, and again, this is a really good article you definitely want to take a look at, but the big piece that really needs to talk about is here. According to a Microsoft study, 73% of workers want their employers to continue providing the flexibility remote working offers. Now that's really big. We may have hit a point of no return where remote working may evolve into something that's standard. It's kind of interesting. Throughout my life, initially in the 90s, it was kind of that cubicle workforce. You make people come into the office, work in their generic space, and then they have to basically follow the process and move forward to make the most efficient process possible. Over time, that became kind of you have to have like a creative space where everybody kind of has some type of unique piece of themselves, if you will, to make themselves feel at home. In the office, the key there was to convince people to stay there longer, to work more in an effort to benefit the company. But now we're seeing with the technology being what it is today, you're now seeing an evolution of people now wanting to work from essentially work from home. So wake up when instead of having to wake up an hour before, you can now wake up 10 minutes before, which gives you an extra 50 minutes of rest, right? So it's pretty interesting in terms of how this has evolved. With small businesses, obviously, if you have to come into work, like a restaurant, for example, maybe if you're like building something, construction, things of that nature, those you will still have to come in. But it's interesting as we're moving to more like white collar type of soft skill type of uh, jobs. We're now seeing people wanting to work from home, and in my opinion, that's kind of where this is going to lead to, regardless of what happens with the vaccine. So it's interesting. Like it's going to be challenging for a lot of companies to try to get employees back into work. I can guarantee you that. I don't think that will ever go back to what we were doing before. I do believe that this has uh, changed the way we work. Obviously, that was always gonna happen, but this has definitely brought things a lot quicker than people assumed. Next up, now we have a lot to talk about here. As you can see, White House rules out extension of pandemic jobless aid, Treasury in terms of responding to tax hikes. So a lot of pieces here. So this is really good. It's the Hill. So we're just gonna kind of go point by point, so we can talk about some of the key pieces here. Let me make sure. Okay, cool. So the first piece we're going to talk about is the jobless aid. So Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and Labor Secretary Marty Walsh said Thursday that the Biden administration will not seek an extension on the pandemic jobless aids. So it, where is it? September. Looking for September. Ah, here it is. I skipped over it. All right. So basically, the benefits program was scheduled to expire September 6th. So they're going to go through with that. So it's essentially it was the $300 weekly boost that people were getting for unemployment that is going to end now. So they do ask states, I should say, to still support as many employees as you possibly can, but we are now again transitioning over to the idea that people can now go back to work, whether from home, like I just said, whether from home or in person, and we are now transitioning back to life as we knew it before the pandemic. Um, Even though spikes are happening within the pandemic, so that's essentially the message, in my opinion, that the administration is sending, and small business need to be aware of this. Again, I've always said we need to look to the fall, or I'm sorry, the end of the summer. I apologize, end of the summer. So I said August. I said either end of August or beginning of August time frame basically is when we should see things kind of getting back to normal. It appears that the administration is signaling that as well as they're going to end this. So it's very interesting. With that being said, and it's not here, but interesting enough, they have extended the moratorium. I should say. You know what? Let me not speak on that because I'm not exactly sure about that. But next up, the Treasury has said that few small business owners will see tax hikes under Biden's new tax proposal. So this is, well, I guess it's not new. This is something that's been kind of going around since Biden was elected, which essentially he said that he's going to move. Here we go. The federal income tax rate from not move, but basically not extend the Trump tax cuts. So right now the Trump tax cuts are at 37%. He's just going to let that expire and it's going to go back to 39.6%. Basically, and I've talked about this before. If you're making a certain type of money, this is going to affect you. If you don't, it won't. So for again, 97% of Americans, probably like kind of give or take, but the majority of people, this will not have any effect. Majority of small businesses, this will not have any effect. And the brutal and honest truth here is that if you were able to survive from, whatever, all the way up to 2017, then you got basically just think of this as you had a four-year window where you made a bit more money, kind of coming in, but now we're going to reset back to what it was default wise. So it's I do see some people kind of, especially when it first came out when Biden was elected, complaining about how this may hurt people. But honestly, I mean, no, we're just going to revert back. Like if people we were hitting record numbers in 2015, 2016. And that just only went up in 2017, 2018, and this is, in my opinion, just going to continue to do what it was in 2016, in 2015, 2016, which is hitting these record numbers. So next up, we have student loans. So more than 300,000 disabled borrowers to receive automatic student loan forgiveness. So the Biden administration on Thursday announced it would line up more than 300,000 borrowers with a total and permanent disability for 5.8 billion in automatic federal student loan forgiveness. So that's going to be the forgiveness. If you have a disability, you 100% will be forgiven. And then there's also benefits if you're trying to start your own business as well. So this may be a double benefit for people who are disabled. So really good for them. Congratulations. And if you are able to use this correctly, this may be pretty beneficial. Now, the reason why I'm noting this is because this is, I think, the third or fourth time the Biden administration has canceled student loans. So first, it was for people with ITT Tech. Basically, anybody who was like dealing with like for-profit type of educational institutions. They kind of highlighted a couple and they forgave those loans. So now they're doing disability. So it seems that slowly but surely, the Biden administration is canceling loans. They did extend the freeze on increasing interest rates, as well as the ability to, or as the requirement to pay back loans for any government loans to end of January. That may be the last extension. My previous because I have student loans for the federal government, and it's I'm kind of like waiting to see what happens with them, so I haven't actually started paying them off. Or I stopped once the pandemic hit, just to kind of see what they're gonna do with it. So I'm just waiting to see if they're gonna start it back up. But with that being said, this may be the last extension, just because the other times that they kind of extended it, I got an email and it was just kind of generic. But this one was the first one where it's just like, hey, we're extending it to January 31st. Make sure you're ready to pay. So this one was the wording was a little different in this one. So that may be the last extension. But with that being said, the fact that the Biden administration is slowly but steadily forgiving these types of loans, there may be a chance that may continue in the future. So make sure you keep note of that. All right. And last couple of pieces here. They are now basically Senator Daines asked President Biden to renominate Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. I mean, that's nothing new. Uh, about 61% of households owe no federal debt, no federal income, I should say. That's another big piece. Looks as if the big push for the pandemic and whatnot really helped. And then lastly, jobless applications for jobless aid fell to 29,000 and hit a post lockdown low. So that's really good. So again, it looks like we're transitioning. We maybe I said around August. I believe it was I said somewhere around August. I said end of summer was when we should see things going back to normal. It appears as if we're now in that transitioning standpoint, right? So I may have called it end of August, but transitions, in my opinion, typically takes about 3 months, 2 to 3 months. So over the next couple of months, I was a little wrong on that. I said end of summer, but it looks like there's going to be a transition period, and maybe towards fall, maybe kind of that transition, and then winter, potentially, we could see some type of normalcy. So, okay. With that being said, thank you so much for your time. As always, make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a like, comment, and share with other people you think may like this content. Thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.